getting us together, for bringing everyone together, and thanks to everyone who has joined. You are in for an exciting session. So my name is Mary Oshinawa. I'm a Senior Cloud Solutions Architect, Data, AI, Artificial Intelligence, and Advanced Analytics with Microsoft. And I have here with me Dotun.
Yeah, my name is Dotun Oskolade, and I co-founded DataPort. It's a business intelligence and strategy company, and I as well lead the BI and strategy unit at HR Electric PLC. People will give you power. Right?
Yeah. So in case you don't have lights in your house during this session, you know who to reach out to.
I won't be sending questions around power supply in this session. All right, so we limit it to Power BI and learning data analytics. Thank you very much.
So before we start, we'd like to find out what industries those who have joined belong to. So what industries are you working on? You can send us a chat message, or you can unmute yourself and say it out.
Good afternoon, Mary. Hello, Bisola. Thank you so much for setting this up. I don't know if you can hear me.
Clearly, we can.
Okay, so I work as a HSE and compliance officer in a marine company.
Nice.
Okay.
HSE, lovely. I see someone from financial services, someone from banking as well. Thanks. Okay, any other industry? Real estate, lovely, real estate. Where else? Thanks, Rita. Financial services also. Marine
logistics.
Lovely. Nice.
Okay.
So it's nice to have you all. Education, we'll see that. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we're just going to run through a number of slides very quickly. I learned we have about an hour, right, Sola?
Yes.
So, okay, so we'll try to make this as fast as possible, and we'll ensure that there's quality delivered as well, right? And maybe I should just put it here that this is a masterclass. And then if there's anyone who's willing or who wants to go ahead with learning in an actual class, you can always get in touch with Bisola. She's the plug for the classes. All right. Without further ado, I'll share my screen with us now, and I'll talk us through a number of things there. Now, it's co-facilitated by Mary and myself, right? So we'll both be talking through the presentation as well. Then if you have questions, you can just please signify by raising your hand. There's an icon to raise your hand on Zoom. So you can just raise your hand, and then we'll see, so I will let you in, ask questions, or you just type in your questions using the chat feature. Okay, so quickly, now Power BI is a wonderful tool from Microsoft, right? It's one of the BI tools that professionals use today, that companies deploy to make sense of their data, to aggregate their data, to as well articulate their data, and to make very informed decisions from the data. So you talk about your dashboard, you talk about your database integration, you talk about intelligence in general. Power BI is one tool that you find almost everywhere. The other tools that do somewhat the same, right? But Power BI is so expanded that it takes on new features every month. So it's updated every month. And then it's one of the tools that has the most wide use case, okay? And then you can plug it to different sources. If going through this data sets, this presentation, I'll show you one of the sources you can plug to. You can plug to a live environment, so your databases, your Oracle database, your SQL, and all. You can also plug to a live environment, a website. So what you find typically is you see people just publish dashboards showing the corona cases across the world, live scenarios and all. That's plugging to a web web service, right? So you can plug to a folder on your computer as well. You can plug to Excel, CSV, you can plug to Azure. There's just a host of sources you can plug. So I think about 90 sources, right?
Yeah, a couple of more, and it increases every day actually.
Every day, so it's ever increasing, it's ever expanding. So it's a tool that you want to really be conversant with, and then you see that you're pretty much valuable to any organization, even to yourself. So introduction to data analytics using Power BI. Okay. Now the agenda for this session is just about 6, right? The use cases, types and tools, introduction to Power BI. I think I've done a lot of that, right? Importing data into Power BI. I told you we can import from 90+ different sources, modeling, querying, and transforming data. Introduction to DAX, creating, refining, and interpreting visuals. Now, DAX is data analysis expressions. So if you're conversant with Excel, you talk about formulas and writing commands and all. Now it's formulas for Excel and DAX for Power BI, and that's a bit technical for this part of Power BI changes that we'll discuss. So the next slide. So we said use cases, right? So you have big corporations, big companies, multinationals, displayed here. I saw your name earlier. Zachariah, yeah. Can you mention one of the companies you see here? One popular company you can see here. Or Peculiar, Ejire. Can you unmute her or something? Okay, she can unmute herself actually. Are you there, Peculiar? Okay, Olamide
Yes.
Adekoya. Okay, Peculiar.
I'm here.
What big organization do you see here? Which one rings that bell most amongst the brands you see here? There are about 6 brands here.
Please don't say Electric.
No. All right. So you can see very major brands here. There are 6 major brands, multinationals doing well, right, in the different industries. And you see that all of them have something in particular, right, which is data, right? So leveraging data. So all of them leverage data to recommend, to find out what people are talking about. All of us know Facebook today. We're almost all on Facebook today. Oh, you see Amazon, great, right? Amazon. You don't see Kedja Electric. Anyways, so
nobody sees a Kedja Electric.
So Facebook as a brand or as a company, how do they make their money, right? And begin to talk about sentiment analysis. Why? Because if Hills and Tech, right, haven't done this session, right, goes on Facebook and puts up the video, right, and people begin to comment on the video, right? So, oh, this is great, this is fantastic, this is very insightful, this is very helpful, this is good for my career, and just, those kind of sentiments, positive sentiments coming, then it tells Hills and Tech that this product they are releasing or this service they are releasing has very good acceptance from a wide customer base or from potential customers. If, for example, P&G deploys a product today and wants to test the pulse of their customers, of the products with their customers, they can easily use sentiment analysis to understand, to understand people's perception of that particular product and to determine whether to discontinue that product or to continue producing that product. So, that's one thing with Facebook, with ads, P&G, read about P&G there, Coca-Cola, Google, we all know how Google makes their money today, right? Amazon, it's interesting to note that Amazon web services and with the Amazon e-commerce services as well, they sync in a way. Why? So today, in advanced countries though, you have a refrigerator in your home and then you are running low on milk or on one item on grocery in your refrigerator. Now, because your refrigerator is smart, all right, it has a smart enabled feature. It communicates the low stock to Amazon Web Services, and then because the e-commerce service is connected to Amazon Web Services as well, so they easily see that, oh, this particular customer is low on milk. And then you wake up the next morning, you open your door, bam, and you see a box of milk in front of your door. without ordering, without doing anything, right? So it speaks to how data is leveraged, how intelligence is leveraged to move that business, to progress. So these brands use all of these things to just progress their services and their offerings. The next the next one, right, talks about how the flow of data, right? So you see the headers there. What happened? What will happen? Why did it happen? What is happening? What should we do? What can we offer? All of this, is infused in what data can do for you. And I think the next slide talks about the different types of data. So you can see data latency when it's not used, right, into reporting and analytics, right? The freshness of data makes no sense until you begin to work on it, begin to use it, begin to tweak it, right, to report and then bring insights into your business. So all of these are embedded in, what the tool can do for you. The next one is types of analytics, right? So you have diagnostic, you have descriptive, you have predictive, you have prescriptive. It's just thief, right? Now, the first one is diagnostic. You look into the past to see what happened, right? So it's important to always look back to understand trends, to see what happened. Can we do it better? Is this what we should be doing, right? Based on data, you can see 6 months, 6 years ago, 6 months ago, just looking at the past to see what happened and understand your business. Descriptive, right? Simply just is based on incoming data. So your live environment, for example. So today, we know that NIBSS, which is the aggregating company, right, for fintech in Nigeria, processes about, I think, 150 billion naira in transactions every day. And I think they do about 3 billion naira every hour, so some funny statistics. So average of 3 billion naira is processed every hour in Nigeria across the POS terminals, across the ATMs, across the internet banking. So all of that is real-time data that comes in, and it describes, how the space, the economic space in Nigeria looks like. So if I chart a graph of Nigeria, right, and I see where is the traffic of money flowing, where is money flowing the most, of course, you would know that it's Lagos. So on that graph of NIBSS data, I'd see Lagos will be very green or red, depending on the color coding you're giving your transactions. And places like Ekiti, pardon to those who are from Ekiti, places like Zamfara, all those places that are not economically viable would experience less flow of data, right? So all of that is encapsulated in descriptive analytics. Now, predictive simply just ensures that the path is prescribed for an organization, right? So you wanna understand based on your historical data, look at trends and see what will most likely happen in the future, right? So I can predict what will happen tomorrow, next year, or because of the COVID pandemic, for example, it's a bit dicey to predict what will happen Q1 or Q2 of next year. So COVID happened in Q1, end of Q1, right, in Nigeria locally, right, and it spans into Q2, right, and then it's following us into Q3 as well. So this year would be
in Nigeria, we will say God forbid, God forbid, God forbid.
right. This year will be a high flyer, will be out of the norm, right? So, but based on historical data, for example, in my company, Agile Electric, we know that certain months, right, are very bad for the organization. So school resumption months, for those who have kids or those who are still going to school. So you know that school resumption is, who can tell me school resumption months? Bisola, you can help me with that now. I never born, sorry, right? So which months do schools resume?
Not this year, next year.
But the months in the year that schools resume, I think September, right?
September, yes, first term, September.
September, yes.
And then January,
April.
Content.
January, right?
Yes.
So
and then July. Sorry, no.
Yeah, pardon me, I'm sorry, very soon. So, those months are very peculiar to my organization. Why? Because remember, we're in Nigeria. People don't prioritize utility bills. So people don't pay their NEPA bills. They'd rather pay their child's school fee than pay their NEPA bills. So in those months, we experience a dip. So if I chart the graph of my revenue in my company, for example, right? So I'd see January, February, March, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to January, it goes down. then it peaks again in February into March, and then goes down again in April, and then September comes down. Why? Because customers wouldn't respond to their bills, they rather pay their kids' school fee, right? So all of that speaks to predictive. So I can easily tell you that, well, next year, I can't expect any better because it's a trend. What I can do with that is now to figure out how to recover as much as I can in those months to compensate for those who are not paying. So all of that just helps you prescribe or predict what will happen in the future and help you better position to take care of that scenario. Prescriptive is, it kind of like takes all the first three into consideration, right? It just says, based on your diagnostic data, based on your descriptive data, based on your predictive data, you can prescribe a path for an organization, right? Say, let's do this, let's do that, let's position this way, right? Because we've seen data, we've seen our trend, we understand our business, and then we can prescribe a path for an organization. So like a consultant will easily prescribe a path for an organization, haven't gone through their data, haven't done descriptive diagnostics and predictive analytics for the organization. These are tools on the right, that are used. But you can see Power BI is not shown here because I'm talking about Power BI today. But there are a lot of other tools. There's Tableau, there's Sisense, there's a number of other tools that we can use for our analytics. Next. Okay. Yes. So one very, very key thing that I want you to take away from this session today is that Power BI as a tool runs on the principles of fact and dimensions. Okay, so I want you to take that very, 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 very. You eat with your right hand, for those who are not southpaw, right? So keep it on your left, and if you're southpaw, keep it on your right. Power BI runs on the concept of fact and dimension. Southpaw are people who don't use their right to do stuff. They use their left, So yeah, okay. So yeah, right. Okay. So fact and dimension are the concepts that Power BI runs on. Okay. So your fact, your fact concept or your fact table, right, contains information that readily change. And this is where our relational database modeling comes in, right? The understanding behind RDBMS, okay, comes in, okay? And, you have a table, another table.
I don't think you understand what RDBMS is. I mean,
okay.
Some may, but majority won't.
Okay. So, do you want to help us with that?
Well, relational database management system, that's what RDMS means. And it's basically how does your data relate? You have products, and then you have the descriptions of the products. Descriptions could be the prices, it could be the category that the product belongs to. For those of you who have kids, you probably know that there's a category when you go into ShopRite or any major mall, you see if you want to buy anything for your baby, you probably will go to the baby section because there's a category named baby. So that is a dimension, it's a category. There's prices. So the products and the prices of those products are usually not changing very often, except for now that dollar is going up and down anyhow, and then these things are changing. But more often than not, what changes is how many products are bought per day.
Value of sales.
The value of sales, basically, that changes. I could be selling 20,000 today. Tomorrow I sell dollars because we don't deal with that. Yeah.
Global.
Global now, yeah. I could be selling $100,000 tomorrow, and that's driven by the quantity that people come into my store to buy. If there's lockdown, for example, people won't buy as much as when it's business as usual. So all of that is facts, is data that's changing on a day-to-day basis. While your dimension data is the description of your data, like the category that your product belongs to, or the pricing, or the product name,
location or operation.
Exactly, locations. You can't have your store location changing every now and then. It will change maybe once in 2 years or 3 years or even 10 years. but that is like standard fixed data, and those kind of information fall under what we call dimension.
Okay, thank you very much, Mary, for that. So let's bring it up to ourselves. So for example, I have a GT Bank ATM card, right? Now, I swipe my card, so I go out today. Now, there's no more lockdown, so I can step out of my house to buy stuff. So I go to a store nearby, I swipe my card, and I pick 2 items, all right? And I pay 2,000 Naira. Later, again today, I go elsewhere, I swipe my card, another location, I buy something, 5,000 Naira, okay? Later in the day, I go somewhere, I swipe. Now, what would go to my fact table or my facts and what will go to my dimensions from the same service pool if NIBSs or the supermarkets spools their POS transaction data, right, at the end of business today. They'll find my name, right, my card number, right, and the value of transactions that I've done, right? Now, what will go to my fact table will be the value of transactions, okay? What will go to my dimension will be my name, because if I go to store A, B, C, D, my name remains the same. My card number remains the same. My bank remains the same. What will change is the value of money I've spent in those locations and the quantity of products I've bought in those locations. So that's the split of your data. So your data, single data, can be split into facts and dimensions. And that's what helps you in marrying your data, your tool together to be able to make sense of your data. I think we have to rush.
Yeah. The Power BI tool allows you to accept data from multiple sources.
Sure.
So today we're going to look into how to get in data from the internet. So one of the really interesting and exciting things that we're going to do is to connect to what is globally relevant today.
Mm-hmm.
You can't open your TV or read a newspaper and not see the word Corona, right?
Yeah.
So you are going to bring in data from one of the most used websites that has the data of people who have been infected or have recovered or have died from Corona. You're going to bring it into your Power BI report right on your desktop, and that data is going to be refreshing on a daily basis with little to no attention from you. So that's one of the examples of the sources. You can also plug into data on your local PC. The data can be in an Excel file, CSV. It can be in a SharePoint folder. SharePoint is a data storage platform that most organizations use. It can be in SQL. SQL is SQL Server. It's a database management system. It can be in the cloud. It can be in SAP. SAP is an enterprise resource system, which most organizations do. So wherever your data is, you can bring it into Power BI. And the reports that you're going to generate can be visible on 3 platforms. So you have the Power BI desktop, which is the one that you downloaded. I hope you have. You have the Power BI mobile app. You can just go to Play Store or Apple Store and download that. And then you have the Power BI service URL. So we won't touch base on the Power BI mobile app and Power BI service in today's masterclass. But when you come for the real, for the full session, we're going to cover all of that and more.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So the examples of reports you can generate from Power BI, I mean, I think we've run through a lot of this ones. Advertising effectiveness to see the products and feel people's pulse to determine whether you want to consume that product or not. Business performance, talk about sales, your coverage, talk about your distribution, your trends, mention that as well. Your focus areas to see, where should we focus? What channel of distribution should we focus on? Which one brings us the most money? Which one brings in the most traffic, right? And ranking, to rank your customers, rank your staff. If you're HR, for example, HR antics, to rank the staff. Which ones are we promoting? Which ones are we demoting? If there's something like that, which ones are we exiting? Right. So now this is a sample, just a sample report. Now I tell people a lot about this. your dashboard is very important. The optics you put together in your dashboard is very important. How catchy your dashboard is will determine the interest people will pick in your report, in your dashboard. So I advise people just go online, see how dashboards are put together, see examples, see how they use colors. Now don't come and do rainbow color and put different colors together, color your thing. No, ensure that you maintain 2 to 3 colors, with your dashboard. Ensure that you have, the appropriate visuals for each idea you're trying to present. So you're talking about a trend. You can't use a pie chart for trend, for example. You can't use numbers for trend. What do you use for trend? Your line graph, just a lot of them. So you have to be very careful on what visual you're using for what idea you're trying to present. Now, the licensing. Now, this is very important. So you can use Power BI for free, right? You can use Power BI for free to do your analysis, to do your work. But it's important to note that you cannot share reports with people if you don't have, number one, if you don't have a license, your Power BI license, full license. So 2 things. So it's possible to share for free. Okay, so if you have an Outlook, a Microsoft account, you can easily just log in with your Microsoft account. So if you use Outlook at work, for example, and it's provisioned, you can log in to Power BI to publish your reports online. So that Power BI web service that she talked about earlier, right? The URL, you can publish your reports online. I haven't done your reports or your dashboard on your computer. You can publish that dashboard online. And then you can share the link, the URL to that dashboard with people. So that's without a pro license. But there is, of course, the data governance, data security concerns around that. Meaning that if anybody with internet with access to that URL can access your report, can see your company as it is, right? So there's always a concern. There's always that, pushback to using the URL. But alternatively, which costs, not so much, is you can see the price for Power BI Pro license is about $10 per user per month. Now, what that would help you do is if you use the Pro license, the benefits of Pro license, number one, when you publish your report, you can put in every other person with a Pro license, all right, in Power BI, such that Power BI sends out your report to them at a predefined time. So let's say you are plugged to a live environment, to your server, to your database, and your server is updated every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes or every 24 hours, right, or every 30 days. You can easily set Power BI to send reports to those recipients by itself with no intervention from you. So that it makes you lazy, makes you just lazy. You just sit back, collect salary, and be enjoying, right? So it just sends that report to them, your dashboard, updated dashboard to them per time. And then they can, see the updated reports by themselves, either on their mobile phone or on the computers, all right? As well, you can use the Pro license, not Pro license, even the normal access, right, to publish on PowerPoint. Imagine you are presenting your PowerPoint slides, okay, and it's interactive, right? So I want to present performance of Nigeria, all right. On my PowerPoint slide, I have the table showing the revenue generated per state, how much they have spent, such that when I click on the state, the data on the table changes, all right? Meaning that it's not static presentation like we normally do. All we do is just presentation on one slide, talks about one thing. But on a single slide, I can present 10 different states, 10 different things using the slicer, using a button. Just click something, it changes. That's one power that you're gonna enjoy, right? So
I think without much further ado, we should go into the practical.
Yeah, I guess so.
We've talked basically about the tool. We talked about data analytics, and for the sake of time, we need to now show you how to
go into action.
Show you how to.
Are you ready? Okay, I hope so.
If you have Power BI desktop downloaded and installed on your computer, can you say yes to the chat window?
I hope you've all downloaded Power BI.
This is a pre-work.
Oh, great. Well, we put 30 likes says yes. Ola, thank you. Yeah, great. All right, so let's just launch Power BI. on our computers.
So we just shared the link with you. That's where we're going to be picking the data on from. So you can view the link in the chat window. It's also on screen. It's worldometers.info/coronavirus. So you can also open that in your web browser separately, or you can plug into it from Power BI. We're going to all plug into it from Power BI, but in case you want to see where the data source is coming from, you can type it into your browser. So for the screen sharing session, you might want to.
Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll just
I want to share your.
I'll copy this link.
I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, great. Okay. Okay. So in that case, I'll open up my Power BI. Admit. So here's my Power BI. Okay, so my Power BI is opening, all right? Okay. Okay, so this is what you see when you open Power BI, right? This is, this is what comes to you straight up. And then it asks you to sign in, right? But you can ignore that, right? You just close that yellow interface, and then you're left with just this, right? So you can see your Power BI desktop. This is your Power BI desktop tool, right? I believe we've all opened Power BI, and I think we'll progress. We'll progress with this. Now, just follow me as I do this. Follow me as I do this, and try and do the same. The link has been shared with everyone, right? And I believe we all have the Power BI open already as well. Okay, so please follow me as I do that on my screen. I want to know that everyone is here. I want to know that I'm not, going too fast. Maybe I could just have someone confirm. I'm not Jesus, so I don't have to wait for the other night. I don't have to, because of one person, keep the other night, the 99. So just one person is enough for me to continue, right? Hold on, we're having a bit of a hitch with the camera stand. If you want. Yeah. So now, if you have all open Power BI, click on Get Data, right? Get Data, and you click on Web. Now, before you click on Web, I want to show you the other sources. You can see that there are a number of sources here. There's Power BI, there's SQL Server, there's CSV. If you click on more, you'd find the other options you have, that you can pull data from, right? You find the other options you can pull data from. And to do that is, To do that, you see the other sources. You can see from file, database, Power Platforms, Azure, online services, right? If you click on all, you see all of the options you have. You'll see that you have close to 100 sources, okay? Now, for this class, we'll be using web, okay? We'll be connecting to web, all right? So you can type in web in the search bar, and then click on web, right? Once you click on web, you, of course, connect. So I want to be sure that everyone is following.
I want to be sure everyone is following. I need one person to tell me, yes, we're following. Please, can you do that? Just one person, chat, yes, we're following. Great, thank you very much. Olamide, thank you. All right, so now in the bar for URL, simply paste the link. All right, so simply paste the link. And that link is worldometers.info/coronavirus. You can paste link from everywhere, from anywhere, from any website, right? Another key thing is if you don't have a database that you have deployed, for example, if you don't have the money to deploy a database, but you collect data. So you have field people, field agents, or you have marketers on the field, all right? And you want to be able to analyze data real time as it is coming from your marketers. So let's say you sell item X and you have marketers or distributors across the country. Now, you can easily use your Excel online, your, spreadsheet online, right? And deploy spreadsheet online on their phones. So you have, one of the things about Google is, one of the positions is Google, you have Google Forms, you have Google Sheets, right? Now, your Google Sheets, you can use your Google Sheets, okay? And then share Google Sheets with them and let them fill the data as they sell or as they collect data into that Google Sheets. Remember, Google Sheets is hosted online. What you just do is copy the link to the Google Sheets, paste here, right? And then the same way I've just pasted Worldometers, paste that Google Sheet URL here. And okay, right? The Google Sheet is an aggregation of all their data. It's an aggregation of all their data. Yeah, as well plug in that Google Sheets here. The same way I've pasted that coronavirus link here. I have clicked on connect and it is going to load up. You need internet for this, please, guys. So
You're using internet to connect.
I'm using internet to connect to.
Yeah, also using internet.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry. You're using internet to connect to this anyway. So, all right. So you can see it says it's please wait while establishing a connection to that link, right? So it's establishing a connection to the coronavirus link. And like I said earlier, you can connect to any website that has data tables, okay? You can connect to any website that has data tables. So it's loading up, it's loading up. It takes some time depending on the size of that website, of course, of the data on that website. Okay, so let's just wait for it. It's gonna take, it might take 1 minute or two to do that. So let's see. Great. So you see the tables that are in the website, that are on the website. So for example, you can see tables 1 to 10. Now, it's important to understand the structure of tables in Power BI. Now, Power BI its own intelligence, all right, separates your data into facts and dimensions, okay? But it's important for you as well to be able to do that by yourself, okay? And in the website, it hasn't done that. So if I click on table 1, for example, it's going to preview the data, all right, in table 1. And it says preview is evaluating, right? So it's going to show you what's in table 1, all right? Now I can see that it shows the country, name of the country, total cases, new cases, total deaths. If you click on each table, if you click on each table, you see a preview of what's there. But what is important for us to note is that we have an end in mind. The end is to deploy a dashboard that shows, not performance, that shows coronavirus, total cases, new cases, total deaths per country to visualize our data as well, right? Using this great tool, Power BI. Now, so we can make do with table 1, okay? We can make do with table 1. And then another thing we can do is to figure out the connections or the hierarchies, because this is a global pandemic and then you see the cases per country, per continent. So interestingly, if you click on table 7, you'd see continents, you see countries amongst other columns. So for example, table 7, you see column 4. Column 4 references countries. If you go to column 15, column 15 shows continents. What you want to do is have a dimension table for locations, okay? Have a dimension table for locations that shows continents and countries. It's optional, it's left to you to do that. So for me, I'll choose table 1 and table 7. So guys, please choose table 1 and table 7. You can limit it to just table 1 if you want to, but I want to show you something very powerful as well. So choose table 1 and table 7. And never load straight, please. For your information, never click on load. Always click on transform data. And I'll show you why very, 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 very fast.
So we want to be sure that you're following. So if you have clicked on table 1 and table 7, and you are seeing whatever we are seeing on the on your screen, if you're seeing the same thing as we are sharing on our screen, can you please say yes in the chat window?
Yeah, that's very
If
true.
not, please say no.
Yes, great. Daniel, thank you. You can see that. You can see that, great. So transform data. Okay, transform data. And of course, when you transform data, this is what you see. This is what you see. So it brings up your Power Query editor. Your Power Query editor is where you do all the back-end transformations, okay? Power Query editor is where you do all the back-end transformations. This is where you determine what goes where. This is where you draw your connections. For the main class, I'm going to show you the powerful ability of Power BI to make your computer a folder on your computer, to make it a database, right? And then link different tables together in your folder. I mean, that's for the main class. But for this one, now we chose tables 1 and 7. So if you click on table 1, of course, you will see what it previewed the other time. What we need to show, what we need to talk about is the country, the cases, deaths, right? Recovery, active cases, you know, the serious and critical ones, you know, and so on. So from here, you can determine what columns you want to keep, meaning that I can delete other columns. Another key thing is, because I want to limit this country column to just countries, you'll see that in this column, you have world, all right? Then you have continents, and then you have countries. That's a hierarchy for a dimension. For a location dimension, you have hierarchies. First one being world, followed by continent, then country. It can be further broken down into states, local governments. As for us local people in Nigeria, you know, have local governments, you know, in other cases you have counties and all, right? So now that hierarchy is very important to understand as well, right? Such that if you want to deal with other data, not necessarily coronavirus data, maybe your company data and you operate across Nigeria, you can understand the hierarchies, right? The levels, right, in which your data comes in. So we're limiting this one to just column, to just countries. So I want to do something. We cannot delete row by row, right? I want to remove world and I want to remove continents. I want to just countries. So what do? I come to the filter icon here. I drop down that filter.
On the right side of the top of the column.
I'm sure you can see it. So this is the filter. This is where you, I don't want to say delete, but this is where you remove the things you don't want to show in your analysis, right? So of course, number one, I uncheck blank. Uncheck blank. I uncheck, let me search world. I uncheck world. Sorry, let me do that again. So I uncheck blank. Let me go to W world. I uncheck world, right?
Continent.
I uncheck the continent. Now, what I can do here is simple. So I know as well that there's a total, right? So I look for total. Yes, I uncheck this guy.
So he doesn't
total.
know because he's Jesus. He knows because he has looked at the data and he can see what it looks like in the preview.
Exactly. Exactly. So you need to have spent time with your data. Of course, before you analyze your company data, it's your data. So you understand different things in that data set, right? And that points you to where to go to, the things to do as well. Okay. So now I click on OK. So it filters out world. Okay, let me filter out North America, Europe, Asia as well. So I need to filter out those continents. So let me look for Europe. Where's Europe? Yeah. Asia. Where's Africa? For Africa, Asia. I think North America
And
South America. Those are the 6 continents we have, right? So North America and LMNOPQRS, okay, S, and South America. Yep. And okay, what I've done is I have limited that column to just countries. Okay. Another very important thing you need to do, right, is you need to make sure each of the columns come in the formats they should come in. So for example, if you click on this ABC, all right, these are the formats that your columns can come in. So they can be either currency numbers, they can be real numbers, right? They can be text, it can be date, if it's a period, right? If it's a column that comes in period. So you have a column that talks about date, all right? In that case, you change the format to date. But here, Power BI has understood the data set you have loaded in or brought in, all right? And then it has put country as ABC. ABC is simply text. You can see ABC is text, right? So your name, country, product name, location, all of those things are text. The only values you change to any other thing but text is your date or your real numbers. So if I click on total cases, it is right because whole number is case. So you can't have case as percentage. So your case is number of cases you have in this country, right? Whole number, and so on and so forth. So check all of the columns and ensure they're in the right format. Now, total recovered is in ABC, meaning it is in text. And why is that the case? Simply because of this NA. So it has confused Power BI. While total recovered should be whole number, active cases should be whole number, you need to change them to whole number. And to do that, you need to first understand that if you click on this, where's whole number? Whole number.
don't take this step.
Don't take this step. If you click on whole number, you'll see that it gives you errors, in the cells that you have NA. So you need to take care of that before you convert the format, right? So, and another thing to note is that all your steps are recorded by the side. You can see applied steps. Applied steps. For the bigger class, I'll show you the importance of this. In creating a model, you need to drop a blueprint. And this is exactly what it's doing. So it's drawing up a blueprint showing that if I bring in any of that data, it's going to apply these steps to that data. So I can easily delete a step. What I did initially was to convert this to whole number and it gave me error. So I'll remove this. Okay, so I'm back to what I had before. And before I convert the format, I need to take care of this NA. So click on this NA. All right, come to this space below. All right, so highlight the NA, copy. You can either do that or type yourself. So I've copied that NA. I'll right click. Let me just take care of NA across board. So just click on one of the columns, Control A to highlight all the columns. Now right click and replace values like you have in Excel. So find and replace. So replace values.
And for those of you who might be interested in doing a certification in Power BI at the end of the main course, this particular step is, I'll give you a review. It's one of the questions that they ask during the Power BI exam. If you want to change one of the errors or one of the values that you don't want to show in your report, what do? Do you replace errors or replace values or replace numbers? So it basically gives you a couple of options that you can choose for. And the answer for this one would be replace values, because in this case, it's the values that you can see that there's a certain value that is appearing multiple times in your report, but it doesn't mean anything, and it would skew your report. If it was errors, like the previous step that you are taken, and then it was showing errors, and you wanted to replace errors, then you can use the remove errors option, which is just above the replace values option.
Yes, thank you very much. Another key thing to note is if you remove errors, it's going to take out the entire line. So that transaction line might be taken out, right? So you want to be careful with that. So replace values and simply type the NA or paste the NA that I copied out, right? And replace with 0. This is your normal Excel understanding or Microsoft Word understanding. So replace NAs with 0, and it takes care of the NAs across all the columns, okay? So now it's taking me to the end of the data. All right, this is where we were before. So we're here. So you can see replaced the NAs here to 0. Another thing you want to do is, if you notice, it has taken some columns that have nothing to do with our data. And that's where the structure of the data comes in, of the data online. So what you can do is just click on the columns you don't need. So choose column, click on control, and column 16, choose column 17, column 18, column 19, all of those ones you don't need. And simply right click and remove columns. All right, right click and remove columns to take care of those ones. Now, you can see that this continent column, all right, you can see that it comes in default format, ABC123. Once you see ABC123, Power BI has done nothing to determine the format that column should come in. So you are the one to change it. And that is what you are going to see when you load a folder in the other class. Anyway, so I come to continent, I change that continent to what? Text.
I think for the sake of time, we should just focus on population.
Yeah. So I have the other columns, population, test, total test, all of those ones. I see them there, okay? And okay, active cases, we can now change it to what? Whole number. Total recovered, change it to what? Whole number as well. Okay?
So as a rule of thumb, the format of the column should be whole number if you're going to perform mathematical calculations on it. For example, adding the total number of deaths in Asia, which means that you add the total number of deaths for all the countries in Asia.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Thank you very much for that. Very important. The reason why you're changing the format to whole number or decimal is to tell Power BI that this is a real number. Real numbers are numbers that you can perform mathematical functions with or operations with. Now, on real numbers or texts, for example, your ID, your staff ID, your clinical, you know that your ID will come in 001 or 002. Now, that's not a real number, it's a text. Why? Because you cannot add ID to ID. It's simply an identification. It's simply a label. It's simply a name. So all those things you change to text. The other ones you want to calculate or perform any mathematical operations on will be changed to whole number or decimal points. Okay, so very fast. We go to, I'm thinking of changing null as well. So let me change, or let me leave null. Okay, don't let me change null. Okay, so next thing I'll do, let me label this. So right click, sorry, double click on table and just call it maybe data, all right? Okay, and come to table 7. I was thinking of doing this before. Okay, let's just do this. Table 7, we said contains the continents and the countries, right? So for table 7, I simply choose those two columns, column 4, right? And column 15, right? So column 4 and column 15, let me be sure.
So to select columns that are far apart, you click on the first column at the very top, then you click on control,
Control.
While your hand is down on control on your PC, you click on the second column.
So you scroll to the
scroll
second
to
column.
the right and then click on the second column.
So you hold control and click on column 15. Yeah. Yes. All right. So I've chosen those two columns. I've chosen column 4, which is the countries, and I've chosen column 15, which is the continents. So for each country, you see the continent. Next thing I do is simply right-click on either of the two columns and remove other columns so that I'm left with just the country and continent columns, okay? So I can easily come here and rename this one. So right-click on column 4, call it country.
Double-click.
Sorry, double-click. Country. Double-click on column 15 and label it continent, right? So I have those two. Now, next thing I want to do is I want to take care of world. So in this, I have just countries. So I don't want world and I don't want total. So drop down the arrow, right? First, drop down the arrow, all right? First uncheck blank and then uncheck world. Let's check if there is total there too. If there's total, uncheck total. Okay, there's no total. So uncheck blanks and uncheck world and okay. So that we are left with just the country and continent. And we can label it maybe location. Okay, what you do after this is you close and apply. Now, if you click on close and apply, Power BI begins to materialize all the changes you have done. All right, it begins to materialize the changes you have done, and then you can see apply query changes, meaning it's applying all the changes you have made in the data set. Now, if you're using a Pentium 1 or 4th generation computer, this might take you forever. If you're using a smart computer like mine, it's going to take you, very, very little time. Don't disappoint me. Because we're connected to the internet as well, it might take you some time depending on your internet speed or depending on the site itself, the website itself. So you can see it's evaluating all the changes we've made. Now, the same thing will happen when you are using your computer, your local computer. There's a folder you have loaded on Power BI. Now, that one is very, very powerful. That is very, very powerful. And that's most applicable to all organizations because rarely would you find an organization that hosts, don't let me say rarely, but what you typically find around is people exchanging Excel files as their reports, their data. So they have Excel files here and there. Now what you can do is simply just create a folder and dump all your Excel files in that folder. And then you connect that folder to Power BI. So that folder serves as your database. So as new data is coming in Excel, just drop that file, that Excel file in the folder and refresh Power BI. It makes a lot of sense when we do it. I'm waiting for this guy.
Well, in this case, the website is refreshed every day by worldometers. That's the site that you're connecting to. So they will be refreshing, and all you need to do within Power BI is to click on refresh. Yeah. And sometimes, since it's an online connection, a direct connection, you don't need to do anything. Once you just open your Power BI report, the latest data comes in, and once you're online, you're seeing the latest reports on your dashboard.
Dashboard is updated real time.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for this guy. No, it's not my computer this time. I think it's the.
I think it's your computer.
I doubt. I think it's the website.
People's computer and telling them you're using.
I think it's the Worldometer website.
So if you have any questions, type it in the chat window.
Yes, this is where we take questions, please. If you have questions, please send your questions in. Oh, Atinoke Odusoya says, I have not been able to connect to the link. I think you sent this about an hour ago. I hope you've connected. Okay, so it says we timed out waiting for page. So most likely it's the page that's down. But if you have made progress on your own, let me know. What you can do is simply, if you have that kind of response, just come to transform data, click on transform data, and then it comes back here. All you have to do, okay, so for example, in my data page, let me change this one to text. Remember, that's not a reason why I didn't connect though, but let me just change it to text. I want to be sure that my columns come in the right format. All right, I close and apply again. So it's just something that has to do with the website or the internet. I mean, so it should query and apply now. Please, does the Power BI app update itself with new applications?
It depends on how you've downloaded it. If you download it from your Windows app portal, the app on that came with your laptop, then it will update itself. But if you downloaded the executable file, the .exe file, and then you ran it, that will not update itself. So from time to time, you need to check, go back to the link where you downloaded the Power BI desktop file from, and provide the, and download the latest version.
I hope you got that. So we're still waiting for this thing to update, or to link up to apply. Anyway, so this is pretty much where post here is where you begin to design your dashboard, right? And your dashboard is a drag and drop feature of Power BI. And then there are some DAX that I begin to apply at that point. So like I said, your DAX is DAX for Power BI and formulas for Excel, right? So you can begin to write your formulas in Power BI here, right? This is the point where you begin to write your formulas in Power BI, your DAX, so to say. This is really. Has anyone made progress with this? Let me know. You can send a chat in. As well, if you want to speak and ask questions, so it says timed out again. So I'm checking with Mary and see if ours is loading up. If ours is loading up. What I can do again is I can remove some columns and make it less heavy. So let me take out the first column, that ash column, which is the serial number. Let me take out, let me see what columns I don't need. I can take out continents from here because I have another table that talks about continents, right? I just want to make it as light as possible. Let me take care of null. So same thing, copy null, replace nulls with 0. Replace nulls with 0. Okay. What else do I want to do? Let's see if it's going to work better now. Let's see if it's going to work better now. So close and apply again. I hope it does. I really hope it does. So the thing with this tool is that you just begin to bring in your ingenuity. Just try, if you're experiencing any brick wall, just begin to try different things. For the proper training, I'm going to show you how to put less pressure on your tools for efficiency. Nobody has told me they have, nobody has said they have made progress with this. So, anyone? Daniel, have you made progress with this? Cynthia, have you made progress with this? Let us know. If yours has.
Mine has done actually.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to.
Okay, so I think it's my computer. So I'm going to allow Mary to share her screen now because hers.
So what I did was I removed every other column except total debt, total recovered.
Oh, okay. So what she did was just to reduce the pressure on Power BI. So she took out the columns, a lot of other columns from the data set. Okay.
Trying to do that.
Okay.
Have to download.
Any questions so far, guys? Any questions? Let's have your questions. let's not have a quiet session. I want to hear your questions. If you can unmute yourself, you can ask your question. If you want to type in your questions, if you don't want us to hear your voice, you can type it in. But let's hear your questions. Okay, so I'm going to do what Mary did. So I'm simply just going to take out a lot of other columns. So let me keep country, I'll keep total cases, I'll keep new cases, I'll keep total deaths. All right, and I'll keep total recovered, and I'll delete other columns that I don't need, right? So I've chosen those columns by using Control, Alt press Control, and choose those columns you want to keep, and simply right-click and remove other columns. Right-click and remove other columns. Okay, so I've done that. I'm keeping this country. Okay, so I'm keeping country, total cases, new cases, total deaths, and total recovered. And I'll delete this location table as well. Okay, I'll delete location table. So I'm left with just this data table alone. And then I don't think it should give me any problem now. So close and apply. And this shouldn't take time to load up. Now, because it's connected to the internet, it's your tool trying to connect to that website, trying to connect to their database as well. And then, of course, that brings in a lot of constraints to the tool. Now, I have a question. If no one has a question for me, I have a question for you guys. And whoever can answer that question, is a quick recap possible? A quick recap, I'm not sure that's possible, but Bisola can let us know if it's possible. So Bisola responds to that. But I have a question for you guys, and whoever can respond to that question, I owe you something, right? And the question is, what is the difference between your fact table and your dimension table? Anyone? Difference between fact table and dimension table. Can anyone give me that? Anyone give me that? Difference between fact table and dimension table. So it has loaded up. Oh, here we are. Since nobody is giving me that response, okay, thank you very much. Olateju, I will see. Okay, fact table changes, but dimension does not. Interesting. That's good. Thank you very much for that. So the data is loaded now. It's here, and we are live on Power BI. Now, guys, I want you to do something, right? Thank you very much for repeat at the lights. It updates periodically. Thank you very much. Okay, so the data has been loaded into Power BI now. Okay, and if you click on this data view, you'd see the columns that we kept, right? If you click on this model view, you see just one table. If I had kept that location table, it would be here. And I can easily link country to country. I can easily create a model that has about 6 tables here. That's for a more technical session, right? But that's the case. We have just one table here to deal with, and then we move to creating our dashboard. Now, I want to talk about coronavirus across countries.
Before that, can we give a quick recap of what we got here?
Okay, a recap of what we've got here. We opened up Power BI, of course. All right, so when you open up Power BI, this is what you find. All right, and then we said get data. So you click on get data, and then you choose web because we're loading from a website, coronavirus website, or Roommeter, sorry. And that link was sent to everyone on this chat, right? So click on web. When you click on web, let's try it. Click on web, and then you simply paste the link, the URL link to that website here, and then okay. Once you okay, it shows you the tables in that on that website. Okay.
So when we click on web.
Hi, Doctor.
Yes, please.
So the process where you selected the tables you wanted to display is called, is it called data cleansing? Is that what it's called, data cleansing?
When you select the tables, right?
Yes.
That part is your query editor, your Power Query editor.
Okay.
Yes, your query editor.
So that means
right?
you just select the one you want to showcase.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And because you have an understanding of the data set, you can easily see when it previews. You can easily see the data sets that you want to show. All right.
Yes.
So we're doing a brief recap now. So paste the URL there. All right, and then you OK.
Yes.
Okay. So you can see it says waiting for odometers, right? And it tries to connect, establish the connection to the odometers, all right? And once that is done, it shows you where you just talked about, Bisola. Here, your navigator, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it shows you the tables. Now, if you are plugged to a folder, right, it's going to show you the Excel files, right? You have in that folder, the sheets you have in the Excel files on your in the folder, right? But that's more technical. Let's just stick with this one. So it's connecting to odometers, all right? And it's going to show the tables in that website.
Yeah, and then also
yes.
rather than connect to the website directly, we can also download the data, right, into Excel.
That's an option. Exactly.
Yeah,
but it's not real time.
Yeah, exactly. So it won't be
exactly. Yeah. So with that, you'll probably just be static with maybe you downloaded on Monday. All the data you have is up until Monday. But if you connect to the live environment, to the data source, then as the data is updated every day, just like NCDC updates us every day, the same way your dashboard is updated by itself, right? So you are churning out real-time data per time. Do you understand?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
This
is taking more time than we expected, so I just canceled it. Let's go back to where we were.
Well, we can explain. So if you're at that point, when the data shows you your preview, you click on table 1. When you click on table 1, you see the preview. Then you can select transform data. When you select transform data, it opens the Power Query editor. Query in Power BI or in data analytics means that you are trying to get the data. So query is to get data. You're getting the data from whatever source you're connecting to, in this case, the web. So that query editor allows you to see the data you're connected to. For this particular scenario, we are interested in 4 columns, five columns: the country, new cases, total debt, and total recovered. So we select only those 5 columns by selecting the first one, which is the country, then click on Control down on your PC and select the other columns. Once you do that, you
find it under fields. You can find it under fields, right?
Yes. So where you have, so let me show you briefly.
Before fields. So this is
okay. So this is what you. So let me just do this. Okay. So this is what you're talking about. This your query editor. This is where you have the different things. Now, what you have by default is you have a load of columns. Only God knows how many columns you find there. But we're saying we need just X number of columns, right? Just 5 columns, and we chose them. We said country, total cases, new cases, total debts, total recovered. So all we did was click on country first, hold press control, meaning you press control down on your keyboard, and then you begin to select the other columns you want to keep, all right? Once you select the other columns you want to keep, then you right click and remove other columns, all right? When you remove other columns, you are left with just the columns you chose, and it gets rid of all the other columns that you don't need, all right? And then you close and apply. And
close and apply is the
so close and apply is what you find here. It says
on the top left of your
screen.
So
close and apply, and then it simply just applies all the changes you have made. Those changes are the changes you find there, applied steps. It simply just takes care of all those commands, and then it brings you
back
here
to
the Power BI desktop. And that's where it took time, was loading and connecting, applying query changes and all. Okay, so quickly, let me just do something. So we want to do a dashboard, and then we want to show the corona cases by country, right?
So I'm trying to do this in 5 minutes.
We'll do this in 5 minutes, exactly. So one very, very good table we can use is a matrix table. A matrix table helps you show data in hierarchy. But because I've taken out the continent date column and left just country, let me use the matrix table. So click on that matrix visual, all right? And you can easily just drag and drop it, or just check boxes. So if you check country, all right, it lists all the countries, right, in your data, right? You can expand, you can zoom, you can increase the size of the text if you can't see it clearly by coming here, this format icon. So click on this format icon. Do you see it? Format icon, click on it. And simply just type size in the search bar, size, all right? Size, on the grid text size, increase text size. So I'm sure it's a lot clearer now, okay? I made it 14, you can make it any size you want. Next thing, all right, is to bring in all the numbers, the real numbers, all right? So I check new cases. Sorry, I need to select this guy.
Make sure the visual is selected.
Make sure the
and on
exactly.
every visual, there are fields that you can, visualizations that it takes. So there's the rows, there's the columns, and then there's the values. So in this case, you have, and that's because it's the matrix visual. So sometimes it could be a chart. So a chart will take a different set of fields for the visuals. It will be the X and Y axis, and then the values that you want to include there.
Yeah, thank you. So for the matrix table, we bring in the fact items, all right? So in that, I've of course selected that visual I'm working on. I've chosen the country. So I check new cases, right? I check total cases. I check total deaths, and I check total recovery, right? And this is a simple table that I have. Now, you'd see that everything comes in 2 decimal places. Now, because it's real numbers, because it's whole numbers, we don't need decimal places. How do we take care of that, right? Simply come to modeling. First of all, select the item. So I select new case, for example, all right? Select new cases. It will show you this, what you currently see on top here, what you'll find in your Excel interface, right? So I want to ensure that I don't have decimal place. So I click on this decimal place. If I make it 0, just come to where auto is, change it to 0, right? You change to 0, it changes new cases to 0 decimal places. Click on total cases, do same. Where you have auto, just type 0, all right? Where for total deaths, do same for total deaths. Total deaths and total recovered, all right? So do same, 0, and hit enter. And for total recovered, and 0. Okay, so that gives you everything in 0 decimal places. Now, another thing you want to do is if you want to see which, so totally was saying, you'd see that new case between a day to the other is total of 43789. So between yesterday and today, you had 43789 new cases. And you can see the spread across countries, right? You can see the total cases so far in the world. You can see the number of deaths, and then you can see recovery as well. Now you can begin to do your DAX and show recovery rates, mortality rates, rate of new cases and stuff like that when you write your DAX. A minute for Mary.
Okay, so you probably are wondering, okay, why are we seeing the data in this format? Is it not the same thing as what we will see in the table when we connect to the data source? Why do we need to bring it into this format again? Well, in Power BI, in this visualization pane, which is this very first one, you can bring in more matrices that are not in your original data. So for example, what is the mortality rate? Mortality rate is total number of deaths over total number of cases. So DAX is calculation. DAX is basically as you would put in cell A1 plus B1 in Excel to get C1. Like 1 plus 1, maybe 1 is in cell 1 and 2, let's say 2 is in cell 2. To Excel, and you get 3 in cell 3. That's the same way DAX works. So DAX is basically calculation language for Power BI. So we can do the mortality rate, we can do the recovery rate by doing a calculation that says total deaths over total cases. Another thing you can do is if you are just interested in knowing, okay, which country has the most number of deaths, you can change this visual from matrix to a line chart or a scatter chart. So let's change it to funnel. So this is funnel. So we go to so I won't go to top end because I want to take that in a different class. So let's use bar charts, for example. So some places are outrageous, right?
USA. You can see USA.
USA, for example. After USA is somewhere like India. So let's increase the size and see. So there's, if you see under size, there are different things. There's the text size on the x-axis. There's text size on the title. So you want to note where you're increasing the size. You see that when I increase the size, this one did not make any, this one, there was no changes here. So we'll increase the text size on the x-axis, and that will be, now you can see better the countries. And then you can also sort. You can sort by, for example, total cases. And then you see the IS. So at a glance, you can see, okay, USA is the IS, next to Brazil, next to Russia, next to India.
Peru, Spain.
Where is Nigeria in this list?
Nigeria is here.
See Nigeria.
Let's see Nigeria data. So Nigeria is saying total cases 21,167, right? You can hover around each of those visuals to see the number of deaths, to see, you know, and so on and so forth, right? So this is just a glance using one particular visual. Now, if you want to turn this back to what it was before, simply just come here, click on the visual, and then you have your table again, okay? Now, one last thing I want to take in this session, right, is let's see how we can maybe calculate our rates. So I'll just show mortality rate. And of course, mortality rate is your total deaths divided by total cases, okay? And to do that, I'm going to quickly click on modeling, all right? Modeling, click on new measure, okay? So modeling, new measure, all right? And there, I'll write my mortality rate, all right? Simple, you know, this is the simplest DAX you'll ever find, simplest formulas. In this case, you don't need formulas for hierarchy. So mortality rate will be our total. Okay, so we need to do something first, right? Before you do that, you need to write a DAX for your cases. So let's first say deaths is equal to sum of total deaths, which is this one, the fourth one, all right? So deaths is equal to sum of total deaths. And I'll explain to you why we have to do this first. So the first DAX is death is equal to sum of total death. Enter. The next DAX, we're going to write, of course, modeling new measure will be the total number of cases or total cases. When I say total cases, make it very short, make it as short as possible. So total cases is equal to sum of what? Total cases. Now, what you see here, when we wrote, let me show you something very quickly. It shows data, country, new cases. Now, wherever you see something before a square bracket, whatever that item is refers to the table. Remember here, we kept just one table that I renamed as data, right? What you find in the square bracket is the column. So table, column, table, column. In the data table, country, column, data table, new cases, column, data table, total cases, column. So total cases, we said, is sum of total cases and close brackets. I can now do my mortality rate. All right. So new measure again and say mortality rate is equal to what? Deaths, which is deaths that I first wrote, divided by new cases or total cases, sorry, total cases. All right. That's my mortality rate, and I hit enter. Of course, that has to be in percentage. So I select that measure, all right? I select the measure, and then I change the format to percentage, all right? So select the measure you just wrote, mortality rate, and come here and click on percentage. You can now introduce that into your table.
And how, can anyone remind us how we move data from field section on the very right into your visual? How do we do that?
Can anyone tell us how we do that? Anyone briefly? Anyone briefly? So because of time, I won't wait for whoever wants to say that. And what I do is I bring in the mortality rate. I simply bring it under my values. So you can either check this box or drag it, click on it, and drag and drop under total recovered. Do we see that? And then it populates by this side. Now, who has the highest mortality rate? I can easily do that.
Let them
Okay, someone is saying you drag the mortality rate to values.
Very
Thank you
good,
very
Vayan.
much, Vayan Veku, thank you very much. Right?
Who has the highest, which country has the highest mortality rate?
How do I know that? How can I easily show that? Mary showed us something very, very, not too long ago on how to rank, right? On how to rank, but she used another visual. She didn't use this matrix table visual. She used that bar chart visual. How can we, rank? I think she's giving us hints already. You can either do this, right? Click on the arrow below, or you can either come to these three dots and say, I want to sort by mortality rate. Because we have chosen this one already, the option it shows as what is currently on is on mortality rate. So you can see that even while US has the highest number of cases, they don't have the highest mortality rate. Who has the highest mortality rate? Is Yemen. So out of 1248 cases, 337 people have died and only 537 have recovered. So you can see recovery rate, mortality rate. You can see rate of new additions. And it's very interesting to do that because the rate of new additions will vary. So the top 10 people that are adding highest new cases will change by day. So if I'd written the formula down and say total cases divided by new cases, will give me the rate of addition. If I refresh this tool tomorrow, number one today will not be number one tomorrow, right? Based on the rate at which different countries are adding new cases. Same as mortality rate. You can come back tomorrow and see that Yemen is on the highest cases, right? So that's one very cool thing to do. So your DAX, we've written this easiest DAX, the very easiest DAX is what we've written. In the other class, major class, will take us through other DAX, how to write measures, financial measures, how to write trend measures and stuff like that. And I think this brings us to the close of this business. Now, I want you to do something. I want you to expand, go on, try on different audio visuals, try and see how it plays out, and make up a dashboard that looks very presentable. And let's meet again. Thank you very much, everyone.
So thank you all for your time and for your attention. And despite the limited amount of time today, because this is just a master class, Dr. has mentioned a number of cool things you can do to bring data into Power BI and show it in a very professional, good-looking dashboard. Thank you, Olateju, for thanking us. And I hope that you followed or you took notes. The session is recorded. Bisola might choose to share it with you after. I encourage you to play around with it and join the main class. So we try to take everyone along in the main class. We would make sure that everyone is carried along, even if it is virtual, and you will be able to boast that you professionally know how to use Power BI. And at the end of the class, you also be well equipped to take the Power BI certification exam. Also, when you register for the class, you're attached to coaches who will help you in your data analytics journey. And you would have this skill as something that will be relevant for you and for every employer that will want to get you into their organization. So it helps not just with job placement, but also career advancement in your current place of work if you're employed already. It also helps you to get more viable roles if you're looking for a job switch. Data analytics is one of the top three skills sought for in our time, and it really doesn't matter. You can do it as a consultant or as someone who wants to get employed in an organization. So it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not affected by COVID. So do register, and to register for the main training, we'll be teaching you a lot more than getting data from web. We'll teach you how to get data from SQL, how to get data from files on your PC, anywhere, and how to visualize it like a professional. There are a lot of things that you would learn from that session. It's a 3-day session. It will be run over 3 weekends. And if you're interested, you can reach out to Bisola for more information. She'll get you connected. Bisola, any closing remarks, or Dr. any closing remarks as well?
Well, I think Mary has done justice to the closing. And what's key, right? What's key for everyone is not just to key into the training, but most important is to have an open mind to learn. And then I promise you the opportunities are endless. They are endless when it comes to BI, right? You become a professional as soon as you begin to use this tool. They are highly sought after. And then you need to expand your mind when you're using this tool. You need to expand your mind and see the possibilities with the tool and see how you can transform your business, transform your organization, how you can move your company forward, how you can make sense of the data that you have. Because research has shown that there's how many zettabytes of data available, right, that people have not used. So you have to be able to use your data and make sense of that data and progress your organization or company. So thank you very much once again. It was good doing this, and I hope to see you guys in the class. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Dr. So what I'll do is try to share the video with those that attended the classes, and then refer all the questions to you. I'll send all the questions to you.
Okay, great. That's fine. That works.
Yeah, thank you, Adiola. Thank you, Gosila. Thank you, Olateju.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending the class. Thank you, Amarachi.
Thank you, Amarachi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye.